Your Excellency President Nazarbayev, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to address you at the 8th Astana Economic Forum 2015. Sadly, I cannot attend in person, but I have sent senior OECD officials to participate in the substantive discussions, given the importance of this forum. And I wanted to share with you some thoughts about our relationship with Kazakhstan and with other countries in the Eurasia region. Let me begin with a brief look at the global economic outlook, which after 7 years of crisis still remains moderate in the near term with certain downside risks and also some favorable tailwinds, lower oil prices, low interest rates, and of the case in the euro and the yen, both much more competitive, and that should be good for the euro area and for Japan to get somewhat stronger growth based on exports. In the United States, the cyclical recovery continues, although we had some disruption in the numbers because of the very severe weather, particularly in the first quarter of 2015. The winter was very tough, and it caused some disruption in the consumption patterns. But still, it's looking positive, and there's going to be a pickup in this second quarter in the case of the US. Now, looking at the Asian economies, China's growth is expected to be, as has been said by the Chinese authorities themselves, around the 7%. Some say 6.8, 6.9. Some say it's going to be exactly 7%. Well, it's going to be around those levels for the 2015-2019 period. So we're seeing the next 5 years around that. And of course, China is going to be adjusting to changing demographics and from a shift that moves the engine of growth from investment to consumption. So that's quite an important change in China's economic conduct. Now, in the case of India, the growth for this period should be about the same level, so maybe somewhat a little below the 7%, so not too dissimilar. And growth is going to maintain its momentum in the 10 ASEAN countries. It's expected to be around 5.6% of the next 4 years, so very robust. It's going to continue going strong. Yet, the region remains exposed to domestic and external risks that make continued reform, regional integration, and the strengthening of institutional capacities quite critical. Now, in the context of this somewhat tentative recovery, Kazakhstan's economy continues to perform admirably. It has shown impressive resilience, even after the impact of lower oil and gas prices. It is increasingly establishing itself as a global player. It is inserting itself in global value chains, contributing to the global and regional policy dialogue. And in the past decade, several reforms aimed at enhancing Kazakhstan's competitiveness have been put in place and are now paying off. GDP per capita increased more than threefold between 2005 and last year. The share of the population living below the international poverty line fell from upwards of 40% now into the single digits, actually the low single digits. And inequality declined in a context in which practically every single country in the world saw inequality rise. So these are very important achievements, but they also signal that there's a lot of homework left and that there are still important challenges that remain. Kazakhstan needs to further diversify its economy. It has to foster more inclusive, more sustainable growth. The government has rightly diagnosed several areas for priority reforms, and we agree that they are absolutely critical. Public governance, integrity and transparency, innovation, human capital and human skills, green growth, the tax system. These are some of the issues which have been mentioned by the authorities of Kazakhstan themselves as priorities. Now, earlier this year, the Prime Minister of Kazakhstan, Karim Masimov, and I, in Davos, we signed the Kazakhstan Country Program, which is a whole of government and whole of the OECD Memorandum of Understanding, which further strengthened our relationships. The idea of this Memorandum of Understanding is to help Kazakhstan continue to consolidate the more inclusive growth, the more sustainable growth upon which it has embarked. The program between Kazakhstan and the OECD will also allow OECD member countries to learn from Kazakhstan's experience of rapid transition to a market economy, and also to enrich the policy dialogue within our own organization. I believe also that the impact of the Kazakhstan Country Program can extend to the wider region. You know, it can be used as an example of the approach that we can take to identify those priority areas where policy needs to be reformed. A strong OECD-Kazakhstan relationship can benefit the policy dialogue in Eurasia on a number of key policy areas: public governance, skills development, the innovation strategy of several of the countries. And of course, these are the themes of the Astana Economic Forum. So it fits very well. So, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, I'm confident, I'm very hopeful that our relationship with Kazakhstan will inspire other partner countries to tap into the expertise of the OECD. And as I said before about Kazakhstan itself, help us at the OECD benefit from your diverse experiences. And then pass them on. There are many developed, but also many emerging and many developing countries which will benefit from such an experience. We are working with many countries in the region already on different aspects. So by getting the best practices in some of your countries, we can then, again, pass them on to third countries, which will then enjoy the benefit of this acquired wisdom. So, dear friends, I wish you a very productive, a very successful forum. Count on the OECD. Thank you.